Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today. Into the Chicago Bulls have traded for Trey Jones and Zach Collins alongside getting Kevin Huerter in a huge blockbuster trade. I've already talked about Zach LaVine going to Sacramento, Fox going to San Antonio. Those are the big parts of the deal. But I kind of want when a big trade like this happens, I want to go over all the sides. I'm going to talk about Sacramento's point of view, them getting LaVine and all the draft picks. I'm going to talk about the Spurs' point of view and what they just got in the All-Star and Fox and that amazing addition. But I also want to go over what the Bulls got. Sure, it's not as meaningful as a LaVine or a Fox, but it's still important. Sometimes like on TV right now on ESPN, you're gonna hear or not ESPN, wherever you're gonna watch people talking about this trade. You're gonna hear all of them talking about is the Kings and the Kings and the Spurs and what this means for them, and that's understandable, right? Because that's the big part of this trade. But I think we should focus on maybe the not so important part of the deal as well, and that's the Bulls. I'll be honest, I'm disappointed in the Bulls with this trade. I'm not disappointed that they traded Zach LaVine, but I will say I think they should have done better. Like the Spurs give up a All-Star who has 1 year left on his deal after this season, managed to get a two-time All-Star who has 2 years left on his deal after this season, 3 first-round picks, and 3 second-round picks. Meanwhile, the Bulls give up an All-Star, two-time All-Star, who's having just as good a season as Fox is, and has more left on his contract, and than Fox does. And what do they get? No disrespect to Zach Collins, Trey Jones, or Kevin Huerter, because they're all great players. But compared to what the Kings got for their All-Star, this trade looks terrible. These assets look terrible compared to what the Kings got. And I'm not trying to disrespect Jones, Huerter, or Collins, because I actually love all 3 of those players right there. To me, it's disappointing that they failed to at least get a first round draft pick. I think that would have been the starting line for the Bulls in this trade, and they didn't get that. They didn't get it for Caruso. They didn't get any picks for Caruso. I thought that was disappointing. Sure, that trade has worked out for them because Giddey has been great this season, has been better than Caruso has, and that's great for them. I think Giddey's going to be a huge part of their future and is such a terrific player. But the fact that you made a trade with the team that has the biggest draft capital in the league and one of the biggest ever in NBA history, and you don't get any draft picks for that, that's disappointing. And then this season, you trade your All-Star, and you get 3 really solid players, but all you get is a second-round pick. It is their own second-round pick, but at the same time, so I guess if they continue to get worse, that second-round pick does get better for them since that's their own pick, but I don't see that as a great thing. It's a second-round pick. Sure, it's a second-round pick. That can be a solid asset, but, I think it's disappointing they didn't get at least a first-round pick. I think if you get a first-round pick in this trade, that changes everything for me at least. But they didn't. Look, they get sharpshooter Kevin Huerter, who I really like Kevin Huerter. He's had a bad season this year, but he's still a great shooter from 3 in his career. He's shot 38% this year. Has had a terrible 30%, but in his career, he's been a great shooter. He's averaging 8 points per game this season, 3 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, 1 steal per game. But last year wasn't amazing, but a solid 10 points per game. 2022-23 season when the Kings got back in the playoffs, he was amazing, 15, 3, and 3, and shot a total of 40% from 3. So I like his addition for the Bulls. And also, when you have such a great facilitator like Josh Giddey, having a shooter like Kevin Huerter will be a solid asset for the Bulls. And then Zach Collins. Zach Collins could be a really nice addition because he could start at center potentially if they trade Vucevic. I think it'd either be him or Jalen Smith starting at center if they trade Vucevic. He's 6'11". He's definitely a solid candidate this year. Has got to start a couple times when Wembanyama has not been able to play. He started 4 games this year. Played 36, 5 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game. half a steal, half a block per game. From the floor, he is shooting 46%. From three, he's shooting 30%. Last season, averaged 11 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, 1 block per game, half a steal per game. I think most likely if Vooch gets traded, it'll probably be Jalen Smith starting, but Collins is a candidate. And then the other piece going in this trade is Trey Jones, Tyus Jones' brother. Trey Jones has had a terrible season this year. Or not terrible, but not a good season this year compared to last season. He's averaged 4 points per game, 4 assists per game, 1 steal per game, and a shot 48% from the floor, which is pretty solid compared to last. I mean, it's a little bit down from last year, but not much. But the big part has been 3-point shooting, 30%. It's gone down 3%. But you look at his season last year, had such a great season with San Antonio, if you ask me. 10 points per game, 6 assists per game, 1 steal per game, 4 rebounds per game. From the floor, shot over 50%, 34% from three. Had a great season with the Spurs last year. More than half of his games he started. Played in 77, had 48 games. The year before, averaged 13 and 7. So 4 rebounds as well that season. So the last 2 seasons before this year, before adding in Chris Paul, Trey Jones has been a great player. So we'll see how that goes for them. I don't really see Trey Jones having that starting role in Chicago, and especially with them having Giddey and all the other talented guards like Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu. So I don't think he's going to go back to that starting role. But what I'm just saying, he was great in San Antonio before Chris Paul's addition. We'll see maybe if he can become a good player in Chicago. Now that he's in Chicago, I don't know. I have to tell you this: he hasn't been that great ever since Chris Paul has come into the San Antonio Spurs organization. So look, they added in Trey Jones, they added in Herter, they added in Collins. Solid, it's really solid. But my upsetting is the draft capital, what they received. Only second round pick I think is really disappointing. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section. That's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out.